Tile laying. Tiles are a common, popular material, widely used in interior decoration. But do you even know how difficult it is to lay the tiles to create a perfectly flat surface? If you think about it, each tile is laid on the floor individually over a layer of mortar, which may vary in thickness in different places. So how do you lay a tile, placing the corners at the same level and then repeat it dozens of times? How do you make sure that each joint is the same width as the others? Professional workers use special alignment systems. The company Knauf, for example, produces this device. It consists of wedges, clips, and clamps. They are very well designed. Multiple clips are installed in each joint. A long, wide wedge is then inserted into the hole of the spacer. The two elements are clamped together, making the surface perfectly flat. Once the mortar under the tiles has dried, the clips and wedges are removed. Perhaps the only drawback is that these spacers are disposable and break during removal. House construction. We are used to the fact that a construction site is an open area where a team of builders erects a building gradually with the help of special equipment and tools. When the construction is over, the house remains in place. But the company Clayton Homes uses a fundamentally different approach to build their homes. The work is carried out in huge closed hangars where a stable microclimate is maintained. Thus, construction doesn't depend on weather conditions and is always carried out in the shortest possible time. In addition, the builders are constantly working in a comfortable environment, which has a positive effect on the quality of the finished building. Amazingly, absolutely all stages of construction are carried out in the same place. The foundation is made up of large steel beams known as I-beams. Once it's fully assembled, the workers start laying the floor. First, they put down a layer of water insulation. On top, they lay the heat insulation material. Meanwhile, the other workers install the sewerage system. After that, they start working with wood, which is the main material used to make the floors. The finishing coating is laid on top of the wood. In this case, it's linoleum. When the floors are ready, it's time to set up the walls. They are also made of wood. The workers insulate them and lay the wiring. They work from bottom to top, so the next step is building the roof. The workers fasten the wooden beams together to create a system of rafters. Of course, the roof is then insulated and protected against moisture. After that, fiberglass plates are placed on top. Siding is selected as the finishing material for the house. Once the house in the hangar is finished, it's sent to its new owners. Natural materials. Most builders prefer simple and familiar materials, such as concrete tiles, to decorate yards and patios. But truly inventive and talented professionals are not afraid to experiment. This one, for example, decided to use natural stone decorative tiles instead of ordinary tiles. The main difficulty when working with this material is that each tile has a unique size and shape. Thus, each element of the future floor must be carefully selected so together they create a beautiful and smooth surface. Moreover, the master faces problems from the start when he has to calculate the right amount of material. Each stone is thoroughly washed before starting to work. Because traces of dirt and dust on the surface prevent good adhesion to the mortar. First, the worker puts the mortar on the floor. After that, a thicker layer of special adhesive is laid on top. 4 cm thick lathes are placed on the sides for a reason. They help the builder to determine how much glue to put in. As you can see, the mortar is aligned so that the thickness of the layer corresponds to the thickness of the lathe. That's how easy it is to build a system of alignment using the materials at hand. When it's time to actually lay the stone tiles, the craftsman puts the construction level on them from time to make sure that the surface is even. At the same time, excess glue is removed from the joints, making the result neat and tidy. Once the glue's dried out, the tiles are grouted for additional fixation. By the way, to make sure the result is beautiful and the slabs fit together, the pattern is arranged on the terrace in advance, but without glue. The master labels the stones with numbers using duct tape and photographs them to remember the position of each element. Coffered ceiling. The construction you see on the screen is a ceiling with niches, cells and beams of different shapes attached to it. It's known as a coffered ceiling, and the recesses themselves are called coffers. Previously, these ceilings were made in order to reduce the weight of the structure and not to create an excessive load on the beams or load-bearing walls. Today, building materials have increased strength, so coffered ceilings are an interesting, unusual element of decoration. Installing a coffered ceiling is difficult and expensive, so not every master can perform this job. One of the reasons is that it had to be planned along with the construction of the house. The coffers themselves are made of wood. The size and shape are calculated based on the desired shape of the structure and size of the room. Each element is attached to the ceiling individually until the finished structure is assembled. Pay attention to the huge number of rulers and construction levels that are used. That's because even the slightest mistake can lead to an imperfect finished ceiling. Rubber crumb flooring. When it comes to setting up a playground, there is a huge variety of materials that can be used to finish the surface. As the requirements for the flooring are quite high, it is important to choose the right material and then consider all the details. The craftsmen you see on the screen are laying rubber crumb flooring on the playground surface. It's aesthetically pleasing, durable, and wear-resistant. If you compare this floor to sand, gravel, or grass, it's much easier to keep it clean too. Besides, rubber crumb is a recycled material, thus it's an eco-friendly choice too. Rubber crumbs are glued together using polyurethane adhesive. The result is a monolithic, even and, most importantly, soft surface. It will soften a possible fall and you won't slip. Cladding brick. Exposed brick walls have become really popular lately. However, few people know that such a decorative effect can be achieved even if the building is made of wood or concrete using special cladding bricks. Unlike ordinary bricks, cladding bricks are flat. They are attached to the wall with a special glue. If the cladding brick was chosen correctly and the work is done flawlessly, the finished result is indistinguishable from a real brick wall. Moreover, a wall made of artificial bricks stands out for its increased aesthetic qualities. The surface stays clean for longer and has a higher resistance to abrasion. Note how evenly the bricks are laid. The joints between them, both horizontal and vertical, are identical in width. That's because the talented worker takes his time to perform the measurements and the alignment.